Tom Durham, look after sales for Soundcraft in America, and we're here with the SI Expression console, which is new here at the NAMM show. There are now 3 models, the Expression 1, the Expression 2, and the Expression 3. Basically 16 input, 24 input, and 32 input. It's an extension of our compact range of mixers, and will eventually transition from the compact to the Expression. The Expression adds a few new features to it that the compact didn't have, one of which is additional DSP capability. So we can now do 66 inputs into the mix bus, which practically means 54 mic preamps and 6 stereo returns, for a total of 66 maximum. On the back of each console, you have the number of inputs I mentioned originally. So there are 16 on the SI1, and then 24 and 32 on the SI2 and Expression 2 and 3, respectively. Each console also has 16 analog outputs from it, as well as an AS EBU output, which allows us to route the majority of our bus structure out to the analog jacks, and or the main outs can feed the stereo mix bus, the AS EBU.
Right, these are line inputs here. These are just straight line inputs?
Those are straight line input, basically a stereo return that shows up on the B layer standard of the console. Speaking of the layers, each of the layers are customizable, so you can create a custom layout for your needs, but otherwise it sort of goes sequentially 1 through 14, and 15, 16 on the B layer, plus your stereo returns.
Right, okay. And these are on the back here we've got...
Yeah, we're looking at an expansion card right now, and essentially this is a fiber optic MADI expansion card. We make several variants of expansion cards, including Cat5 MADI, CobraNet, Aviom, ASEBU, and there'll be additional cards added to the lineup later this spring.
Okay, that's cool. So we're looking on the back here on the outputs here. Well, this is 1516.
1516 is normally fed from the left-right fader, but that can be repatched if need be.
Fine, okay, it's cool. Right, let's switch around to the front here, and you can just take us through the sort of basic.
So one of the strengths of the compact and now the Expression has always been its simplicity of operation. So you have a single encoder above each fader. That encoder can be one of 3 things: either your mic preamp gain, your high-pass filter, or your pan pot. And so if you need to just have a knob above each fader to grab, mic preamp is the most common one, so we usually leave that sitting there.
Easily switchable over there with your filter gain.
Exactly, right here. And then the rest of the control of the console will be done using select switch. So I hit the select switch, and then I get a channel strip located above the faders that has mic pre and high pass repeated, but also gate, compressor, 4 bands of EQ, and delay, pan pot, and essentially assignment to the left-right bus, and the capability of putting enabling switches for the high-pass filter, the gate, the comp, and the EQ. These can also be used as interrogation switches, so if I hold one down, it'll illuminate on the select switches down below on the faders who has their EQ in or out, and if I want to add to that, I can hit the EQ by hitting add the EQ onto that channel by hitting the select switch while holding the EQ switch.
So very, very easy, straight to the parameter straight away.
Exactly, and that's really the compact and the Expression strength is tactile control. You know, really at no time during a short demo or training do I have to spend much time on this touch screen. Everything is touch and turn. Each output has a BSS graphic EQ on it, and actually one thing I'll talk about before we go there is to get to an output, any of your sends, you use these 14 bus switches here. So I'm going to hit bus 1, and we'll see that the faders have changed level controls on the surface and also now illuminate. And we use a color coding system so that you see yellow is pre-fade auxes, green are post if I've got any set up, there we go, and blue are effect sends. So anytime I've changed the mode of the fader, it's absolutely obvious that it's changed. Anytime it's dark, it's a mono input fader. So we're going to go back to a effect send, and we'll demonstrate the graphic EQ. So I got a high and low band graphic EQ switch I can touch here. I hit it, and now I have 14 bands of graphic EQ showing up on the fader surface, and now the faders glow red. And then I can switch between banks to get from my low band to high band, so those 14 So a total of 28 bands of BSS graph EQ on every output. So I don't have to give up processing or anything else to have these. These are always there at all times on the bus.
Right. And these mix buttons, these mix here, are just different scenes or?
They're different mixes. So it's an analogous in an analog console, a different aux in. So this is basically aux 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on through 14. The last 6 can actually be changed to true stereo auxes. So I can have as many as 8 mono and 6 stereo for a total of 20.
Right.
At which point I would need to use a digital snake or stage box to have enough physical jacks to get those out to something else.
Yeah. The lexicon effects inside, I see. Where's that come from?
The lexicon effects are roughly equivalent to an MXP, so nothing fancy, but relative to what you find packaged in digital consoles, it's a very good sounding lexicon. Still has a traditional lexicon trail and diffuseness. Play it effects here. You can now see that I have 4 engines. I can click in here and then choose between 29 different parameters for each engine, or actually types of effects. And then the parameters map out 4 at a time onto these encoders here, and I might have, depending on the type of effect, multiple pages. Right now I just have a single page of those.
Yeah, sure. So the screen effect here is really just for doing the advanced editing on the effects.
Exactly. Just set up stuff. If I'm not using the screen for anything else, I might leave an EQ screen there so I can see EQ curves. But for the most part, we've tried to make it more tactile than screen-based.
So as live as possible. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's really well laid out. It's very easy to understand straight away, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's what we think the strength of the console is, both in sonic quality because we're using 40-bit floating point processing, but also just the simplicity of speed and access to the console. It's very immediate in terms of its operation and can be easily explained because it's all touching and turning knobs, much like you would have done in an analog environment.
Fantastic, Tom. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you, sir.